I remember. These videos aren't going to be able to connect together, so they're just going to have to be part 1 and part 2 in some fashion. I can't make playlists off my phone, so some of this is just going to be part 1, part 2, pick up, put down, da-da-da. I'm vlogging as I urban hitchhike, or urban camp, hike. I'm just hiking around the city, and I have a spot that I camp at, and I was thinking about my gratitude for one of the women at the library. I told the story to someone. I may have told it out loud. I'll tell it again. I didn't say it out loud when it happened. So I go into the library and I'm in a really good mood on Thursday. Today's Saturday. Time of recording about like 11:30 or something. Not quite quarter after. Not quite 20 after 11. And so anyway, I'm in a good mood because my sister had given me $50, so I went and I got more food than I could eat in a day and had leftovers in my bag, and I had gone to therapy, so I went to McDonald's and I got as much food as I could justify on coupons and got as many points as I could justify so that I could get free food on Friday while the library was closed, which I did do yesterday. I was able to eat enough calories that I wasn't hungry when I went to sleep. I was just thirsty. And so I go in there and I'm talking to her and we're bantering and we're having a good old time. I'm being witty and charming, hard to believe. And one of the other women says, "Man, you're really having a good day today." And I said, "You don't even know." I said, "You don't even know. I've eaten and everything." And as we were walking away, the librarian was helping me get my private room so I could read Spoopy Ween Day 3 for you. She asked me if I went down to the soup kitchen. She told me that she heard they had meatloaf. They have the best meatloaf in town, is what she said. That's what she said she'd heard. And I said, no, my sister gave me $50. So I did what I just said. And she goes, "Oh, okay, that's cool. And then I asked her for directions to that soup kitchen. And so that's where I planned to go today. I went and found it after I left the library. And I think she knew that because she asked me if I wanted another room. And I told her I was going to go for a walk around the city. And I think she knew what I meant, but she got really excited about that. It's very interesting. The people who engage with me in my work and who interact with me in town, they like my homelessness. The cop, he liked what I'm doing. I explained all of it to him. This is religious. I'm trying to find myself. I'm rebuilding my mind and my spirit. And he said, "Okay, well, I can't tell you to do this, but there's a spot over there where nobody's going to bother you." And I said, "Okay, man." And so everybody, I can tell, like when I was at the McDonald's yesterday, I told the story on my John cast, as it were, but manager was just climbing up her ass over dumb shit because the manager was doing a bad job. And when you work a drive-through restaurant, the front of house has the most obvious, visible downtime. But rarely is it real downtime during peak. What it is that Macy crushed it yesterday. She was crushing it, turning and burning people. Took no time at all to get orders passed. She had everybody trained how to use their phones to get everything. She just did such a great job. She's doing such a great job. And every time her manager would talk to her, she'd just climb up her ass and say something hateful. So I told her when the manager fucked up my order. And it's really funny, she fucked up my order. Anna, you fucked up my order coupon. I got a free burger because they fucked up my order. And then she fucked up my order by not prioritizing it because she cashed out the coupon and was annoyed with me that I made her walk away from where she'd parked herself in Expo. That's on you, lady. And then she fucked up my burger. So what I should do today is I should call customer service and get a free coupon on my app so that she can fuck up my next coupon. And I can just eat at this store for free on this lady's fuck-ups. I have known many people who did that, and it's not even an exploit. We used to have a There was a lady at the Sonic that I worked at that every single day she had a free sandwich coupon because all she did was call in and say how the car hop fucked up her order by not saying the script that I kept telling that, well, it wasn't on my shift that she was getting those free burgers from. She was coming to Ken's shift, and Ken was a dick on his shifts, and so he just kept having to hand her free burgers, free sandwiches, and then she'd come back later in the day and get a free sandwich. You know, go get a drink and happy hour, sit in the drive-thru long enough that he makes you pay full price, and he's not supposed to do that. So he owes you a free burger, basically. Long story short, I was feeling gratitude for the librarian, and I was thinking about how if I see her today, I might tell her that I went to the soup kitchen on her recommendation. And then I was thinking about, because I plan conversations, because I'm cagey and weird, and I don't have a lot of social experience. So where you reactionarily replay conversations in your mind, I prepare for conversations by scripting them. Now, you know, the best laid plans always go with Blaine, so most of the conversations that I script for never happen, but I'm ready for when they do happen later. And so that's part of how I am able to so easily just speak the truth, even though it has a horrible effect on my body, is I practice it and I plan it. And I think these things, and it's taken a long time to have to gerrymander, or not really gerrymander, jerry-rig opportunities to speak them. But I was thinking about how I would tell her that my sister, I was thinking about how I would tell her that my sister climbed all the way up in my ass for spending that money on food. And then I got to thinking about how, well, this conversation is more appropriate to YouTube and your vlog. I reopened the Patreon, so what I'm going to do is all of the stuff that I'm doing in public is getting copyright struck. Now, they're not taking it down, but it's internationally. I'm not allowed to share it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it available on the old Patreon that I've rebranded and everything. And what I thought in my head is she climbed up in my ass for spending that money like she thought $50. I don't know what she thought $50 was going to do. I told her every single thing that I bought with it, and this is what I keep telling you guys. And so what I got to thinking about is how when you give someone money and you don't tell them specifically what to spend it on, it's their money to spend how they like. People have offered me huge amounts, huge sums of money in the last 2 months. Huge sums. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I've had people tell me they would give me hundreds of dollars a month because they didn't need it. They just give me the cash. And I said, well, don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you do that, you're going to have an expectation for how I spend it. And see, most of you don't have experience with this. Most of you don't have experience with this, but I actually lost a girlfriend over this in high school. You see, I was mowing her granddad's lawn every weekend, so I had an opportunity to finger bang her, and he was paying me $50 a weekend. And now he had it in his head that that was going to be enough. $50 a weekend is about $200 a month, and then I was moving as soon as I graduated. But he had it in his head that that was going to be enough to pay for a year's worth of car insurance for an 18-year-old with no family, and that somehow I was going to be able to get a driver's license with that money. Well, that was never going to happen. I don't know how he got that in his head. I don't know where the idea came in his head. He never told me that. I wasn't even 18. I was actually 17. Yeah. I was actually 16. No, I turned 18 when she broke up with me the day before my 18th. So anyway, I was 17, and yeah, I was spending that on records. I was buying records, and I was taking her out to eat with that money. And now it's really funny because she knew that's what I was doing with the money, because I was naturally ripping and burning her copies of all the CDs I was buying at school, like any good boyfriend would do for his girl. And they got really mad at me that on my 18th, I didn't have a car and insurance, and I'm just like, that's weird to me. You know, the bus might not run on Saturdays. I don't actually know. It said it did, but it should have already been here. It should have been here 24. Oh, you know what? She skips this line. I might have missed it by not being standing. I hate that. She's supposed to come all the way up here. I might have missed it because I wasn't standing up. I hate standing. Standing is so uncomfortable. Especially when you're carrying 20 pounds of stuff on your back. And so, I'm not mad at my sister. I knew it was coming, and so I kept telling her everything I was buying. I don't know if she thought that 50 was going to stretch for longer than what it did, or what, but c'est la vie, am I right? I'm not supposed to say this, but I think she might be the prettiest woman. You give somebody money and you don't tell them exactly how to spend money. Don't have any justifiable or right-minded opinion of how they spend that money. You just don't. That includes your taxes. You're represented by the government. You have no opinion. You're represented by your representatives in government, and you have a near infinitude of them that you elect into office. So you don't get to have an opinion on how the taxes are spent. The only way you get to express that opinion isn't by bitching. It's by writing letters to your representatives. It's not by getting on Twitter and talking to people in districts and states besides your own. It's most certainly not about getting on Twitter and arguing with people from other nations, even other countries, which is less than a nation, sub-nation, like Israel, Palestine. These are sub-nation countries. These are land masses with people on it. But that's what I told these people that last month wanted to offer me 2 months ago, about now, 6 weeks, maybe closer to 8 weeks now, wanted to offer me hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. I told them that the conditions, the catch for that wasn't worth it, because I am an addict to food, to weed. I am going to spend that money on food and weed. That's why I have been nothing but forthright, nothing but, I miss this bus, I should have come all the way out here. I'm going to be so annoyed if here in 5 minutes she doesn't, 2 minutes, she doesn't come up here. I'm going to be so annoyed. People are starting to get it. That I'm live blogging, or at least that I'm recording myself. I smile at people. See, that's the difference in me and the influencers you're used to. The influencers you're used to are going to give these people ugly looks and act like they're getting in the way of what they're doing. These people aren't getting in the way of what I'm doing. I watched the first 6 parts, so the first 3 hours last night of what I recorded yesterday. And I'll tell you right now, that moment when I was annoyed when the woman who was cleaning the dining room kept inching closer and closer and closer to my table, it was exactly what I said. I'm just jittery, just nervous, and just caffeinated enough that her inching closer and closer and closer here, it's not that she wants to hear that's annoying me. I wouldn't mind if any one of these people wanted to stand around and listen to me talk about what it's like to be homeless. I've thought about how I could even organize that, how I could get people in my local area to stand or just listen to me stand, because I don't smell bad. I don't know, you can't know that. My hair is visibly dirty, but a lot of people don't keep their hair clean. And if I mousse it up the way I've been, it just looks like I've got product in it. That's why I cut it the way I did. And yes, I cut my hair. I did this. I shaped it. I am that skilled. I used to date a barber. And I watched them work 3 times, and I watched them work on me, and it's really not difficult. The damn hair clippers, the extensions are numbered, and they tell you exactly how long it's going to be. So if you get good at manipulating your clippers, all I did was put on the 1-inch attachment and then cut it all down. hold it up in the front, get it so that it does exactly what it does. It fans from long to short in the front. And then I took it all down to half an inch, and then I edged it out so that it looks nice around my ears. It's the simplest shit in the world. Look, you're a human, just like I am. You can learn anything by watching, just like I do. It's the simplest thing. Just watch a barber on YouTube. See what he does. Practice. And the great thing about your hair, when I was getting real good at styling it to look fancy and modern like it does, during COVID. Hiya! I messed up on basically this look I'm going for, but I was going for a longer mop so that it stayed out of my eyes. I had like a long pixie thing going. If you know Phil Anselmo, I was doing Phil Anselmo from Pantera when he went with the long floppy pixie cut mohawk that he wore for a few years in the 90s. Man, this bitch skipped me again. Now I just look like the biggest asshole in the universe to everybody that's seen me standing here going, she's not coming up here, man, you missed it. That's fine. On Monday, it's running every half hour. So if I miss it, it's just half an hour instead of a full hour. I'm not walking. Oh my God. And yeah, if you're a pedestrian, just acknowledge cars, especially in parking lots and at crosswalks. And, it's really not hard to indicate where you're going. Like in public, if you're in a busy intersection in a Walmart, it's really not difficult to just point the direction you're going. I'm going there. And then people will go, oh, okay. Now they won't point where they're going, but if one person indicates, you've seen this if you've ever been in a four-way intersection. Oh, my hips are so tight today. This is going to be a long walk. I did a lot of walking on uneven ground yesterday. Okay. Just settle in, Vincent. Oh. It's not hard to indicate. It's not hard to communicate non-verbally if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to talk to strangers. And frankly, I don't know why. They're human just like you. They're human in the exact same way that you're human. In fact, they're probably as anti-gregarious as you are. Not everybody has to be Midwestern and small town, but this pretending that everybody's from New York horse shit is just rude. It's just impolite and uncivilized. And anyway, New York shouldn't behave that way, and they shouldn't pride themselves on behaving that way. That's the way criminals behave. Why do you want to behave like a criminal? That's how homeless people behave. That's how destitute people who have ruined their own lives lash out on the world. And this is what I'm talking about. My sister for 2 months, thank you for indicating where you were going, asshole. This is what I'm talking about. And the little dick energy of cars of that exact size, I'm not going to show what he looks like. That's a dick move because you'll be able to see his license plate number. And there are people in the world who are malicious enough to get it in their head in a few years to harass that old man because they like me. And fuck that, don't do that shit. That's kind of what I'm talking about, actually, is behavior like that. It's just uncivilized. That's tribal. It's pre-tribal. So, trying to tell you about giving people gifts with expectations. That's called conditionalism. Now, you've never heard that word, and there's another word I'm going to talk to you about since I'm going for a walk and this is going to end up longer than I thought. I got to watch my battery. I didn't plan on doing this. I didn't actually plan on having a battery this morning. Yesterday went so well, I woke up today with more than 30% battery. That's how well this can go for me if you can help me fund just $6 a day. I end up spent maybe $10. And I spent $10 over the course of the last 2 days in that McDonald's. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. The people who are like, oh, I'll give you $300 a month. It's like, okay, yeah, but if that's not on a subscription plan on my Patreon, right? And there are options that high now. There's an option that goes all the way up to $10,000 a month if you really fucking believe. Let's see it. That's what I told my sister, ultimately, because she got upset
And she got upset with herself because for 2 months she's decided that what's going to happen, the way she's going to solve this, is I'm just going to move into a house with her. And I kept telling her, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to stress yourself for me. I don't want you to put yourself on the limb. I want to live in this tent. I am enjoying this immensely. But see, because I know who her parents are, I also know how she's going to respond to disappointment. Right? Because I know how I respond to disappointment. And see, the difference in being 37 and from my family and being 27 and from my family, and the difference in being the eldest who's been out of that family environments for 19 years, more than half of his life now, and being the youngest who's only been out of that environment for maybe 9 months, maybe 18 months, as many as 18 months, is an enormous gulf. And so when I was talking about the gap in which resides God, that's a gap in which resides God. Okay? There is a difference in our experience and our understanding of life, our expectation, and our understanding of one another. She hasn't known me for 20 years. The last time I really interacted with her was in about 2004, 2003. Okay? So conditionalism, you've heard about love and unconditionally, right? The reason you've never heard about conditionalism is because no sociologist has taken the time to decide that he's going to invent it. I'm telling you right now, this person who has ascended philosophy, this philolite, is going to tell you that his world system, if he had an ism to which he is bound, it's conditionalism. And if there's a route through which he is able to turn that conditionalism into a pocket that he can then reach into and store things, he does it with recipricalism. Reciprocationalism, but recipricalism is fine. What I mean by that is that everything comes with a condition cost. Everything comes with a condition cost. This is why I kept saying the phrase to my sister, what matters most to me is that you are okay. If you are okay, any extra beyond that can go to help me. This is what I kept explaining to Magic Shadow and all the other people who were in my life in the previous incarnation as Shaggy Dog Philosopher. Right? Don't put yourself out of a home to support me. That doesn't support me. What that does is that takes income out of my future. You understand? If you're supporting me financially, and then you spread yourself so thin that now you can no longer support me financially at all, you're doing us both dirty. You're making financial decisions, you're making plans, and you're organizing your life in such a way that actually jeopardizes mine. Don't do that. But see, I can't say that to my sister. First of all, I can't tell her what to do. Can't tell her how to make her decisions, because what she's going to do is what she did. She's going to get upset. And so what she said to me is, well, why am I investing all this money, and why am I working all these hours for you if it's not what you want? And I said, I don't know. I've been telling you the whole time it's not what I want. I don't know why you're doing that. But I know that what you're trying to do is solve my problems your way, the way you would solve the problem if you were in the situation, and you're trying to force it on me so that you get the win. And you can say, I did it. I saved him. That's selfish. She called me a narcissist. And it's like, that's the funniest thing in the world, because I spend my life telling you how to be better to people I don't know, rather than specific people that I do know and of whom I am fans, like you do, like I said, you need to not do. I spend my time, I am stretching my groin. I am tight and you call this. Instead of spending my time choosing out people for whom I have a particular affinity and then convincing you to like them, which is a fool's errand, I tell you how to like everyone. Because if you're good to everyone, then when you're particularly good to anyone, they'll notice. And let me tell you, the people that I deal with at these restaurants, especially in fast food, especially yesterday in McDonald's, when I told Macy that hilarious joke, she got all nervous. She's the kind of person who would get all nervous. She got all nervous, like, oh, I hope she didn't hear that. And don't make me tell her, don't make me ask her for a coupon. And I wasn't going to. And so she kind of threw her hands up in the air about the whole situation, as she should. And I was laughing. I was having a good time about it. And then I walked around the corner. She took care of another customer. She said, hey, really, though, sorry that happened if I had it. And I said, you don't even worry about it. You are crushing it. You keep up the good work. You keep doing what you're doing. Because what you're doing is awesome. What you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. God damn, this road is going to be just busy enough that I never make it across. Okay, here we go. All right, you ready to see it? Old injured guy run. Okay. Tight pelvis. Cannot stride like he used to. Carrying 20 pounds on his ass. Whew. Okay, I made it. I'm alive. That's all it takes, man. You should have seen her. She finished her shift fucking pumped up about life. You know why? Because somebody strange just gave her a compliment. Now, she's seen me around. I see her. I get on and off the bus, and she looks at me, and she recognizes me, and then she doesn't say hi. I smile, and I nod, because most people don't like to be spoken to. Like I said, most people think that if you speak to them, you're a gregarious Midwesterner, or you're trying to fuck. Especially if you're moderately attractive. The rugged look is working for me right now. I did it for another guy. Standing there waiting on my burger. And he can see him standing there waiting, and he's not going to fucking say anything to her because he's not getting in the fucking crossfire. Not for me, not for nobody. And so I asked him as he leans up against the thing because he didn't have anything to do. He was the guy making, he was the one doing the ice machine, the McFrappes and the smoothies and stuff. He has a second, he leans up against the wall. And so I engaged him, so technically he's not leaning when he could have been cleaning. And I said, hey bud, how you doing today? And he goes, oh man, it's been fucking brutal. It's been so busy. I said, man, yeah, you guys have been slammed, Friday morning. You're fucking killing it though. You look like you're, yesterday you helped me out with my coffee. You got my coffee order. You're fucking killing it today. And he goes, yeah, man. I'm just so ready to get out of here. I said, well, how long you got? And he goes, I'm here till... Oh, no, I said, when did you come in? Is what I said. And he goes, I came in at open. 6. Why? Why do these fucking people do this? You see me here. You don't have to compete with me for the fucking parking lot. You could go that way. I don't understand the competing with me and then giving me ugly looks, especially the passenger. Fuck you, passenger. You're doing shit. You're not even watching for her to make sure that I don't get in the way. And you're most certainly not leaning out the window going, hey, make sure you're paying attention where you're going. Fuck you guys, man. Car people. Car people are the goddamn worst. Especially if you grew up in a vehicle. If the only thing you've ever known is being in a vehicle, if you've never spent any time as a pedestrian, man, you're the worst to be around. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I was talking about just moving the flow of traffic in a building. You don't know how to use your turn signals because nobody ever indicated to you, nobody ever made it obvious to you. Frankly, nobody ever just said the words out loud to you that your body communicates to other people. I don't know how you missed body language. I keep talking about that a lot. But anyway, I asked him, when are you coming in? Or when did you come in? And he goes, 6. And I said, okay, so that means you're out at 2, right? And he goes, yeah, 2:30. I look up at the clock. It's going on noon, maybe 11. I said, oh man, you only got 2-3 hours left. This is the easy part of the day. It's going to coast for you now. And he goes, oh man, I'm just so ready to get out of here. And I was like, bro, you're killing it today. You got 2.5 hours. Take a deep breath, make the shit out of that frappe and fucking keep killing it. And he just goes like, you can see his whole demeanor. It's so easy to do that for people. And it comes back to you. They want to give it back. And so whether he gave it to me or he gave it to the next guy that he talked to at the counter, it's so easy to just smile at people. And what you don't understand is when you walk into a business establishment and they're not smiling to you, it's either one of two things. If they usually smile when you walk in or anyone walks in, It's the second thing. The first thing that it is that everybody that walks in that store is an asshole, including you, and they know it. So they're not even going to bother. You're the kind of person that when you walk into a store and they go, hi, you don't even look. In fact, you're the kind of person who will pretend like you just got a text, so you have a reason to not look. You're that kind of person. So they don't even bother. You know, I used to work gas stations, right? And so I was working one day, gas station, low-income neighborhood, largely black, talking to a black woman. She's cashing out. And everybody who walks in the door, it's busy. I'm the only person in the fucking front of the store. So every person who walks in, ding, 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 I go, hello, hello, hello. And so I must have said it about 15 times while this bitch is counting pennies, right? And she goes, do you fucking have to do that every time? And I said, yeah, I have to do that fucking every time. And she just gives me this look like, oh my God, no human being has ever spoken to me the way I speak to them. There are conditions and there is reciprocation. I will be nice to you on the condition that it is my moral code to be nice to everyone. But if you can't reciprocate that, I will rescind my niceness to you on condition of your inability to be nice to anyone. I don't owe you anything. You understand? Love may be unconditional, but love is not lovey-dovey, feel-good, rainbows, unicorns, horse shit. The love of a father is the love of a stick on your backside. So if you want me to be stepdad, find me a switch, because you deserve it. I don't know what for. I don't know what you done wrong today, but I'm gonna whoop your fucking ass. My dad used to say that. He used to come home from work. Now, evidently he wasn't as bad as his dad, but he used to come home from work and he used to take that belt off and he used to just beat me and my brother 5 or 10 times with it. And that's what he'd say. I don't know what you did wrong today. I don't know what you did to deserve this, but I'm gonna whoop your ass. And this is why I'm talking about my sister. My sister never got any of that from my brother, or from my father, and my brother didn't get anywhere close to as much of it as I did. Because my brother couldn't just take his lumps. My brother had to kick and scream and try to run away. And when you live in abuse, especially when you live in physical abuse, especially when you live in that particular kind of Adventism from the 80s and 90s that said, the spare not the rod from the child. Oh my God. They used to beat the ever-living fuck out of me, my parents. Just constant barrages of violence, whether it be verbal, emotional, physical, whatever. So what you want is for me to solve this the way you would solve it. But I'm not you. And I don't know how you keep missing it, but everyone that suggests to me or to their audience in some feel-good, pseudo-psychological bullshit, not to let people antagonize you or hold you back from your dreams, I have to ask them, well then why are you holding me back from mine? Since I was a little boy, this is all I've ever wanted. To wander the world on foot, smile at strangers, wave and nod. In fact, you couldn't see, while I was standing there, that guy had let his dog make a lap of me 3 times, because every time I waved and I smiled at him and his dog. So I'm a part of the community. And they all understand that this is a way to make money. They can all assume that I make enough money that I'm doing this on a lark. In fact, when I told the cop, oh, I live stream, I'm trying to generate a living live streaming and trying to teach people how to engage, honestly, with the cops even. Just how to engage with one another, how to engage with professionals, how to engage like a professional. And he asked me if I made a good living, and I said there's a good living in it, but I lost about $80. No, I lost about $100 a month when I transitioned from living in severe physical and emotional and psychic abuse and torture to homelessness because I wasn't willing to let them make decisions with how I spent my time for me. They wanted me to stay up late at night, 9 to about 3 a.m., and entertain them with spaces where they got to talk about my favorite things like they knew anything about them, without really much listening to me speak, listening to my opinions. They wanted my attention after work like everybody craved from their dad. But what they weren't willing to do is ask themselves what sacrifices that required of me. At the time they were all doing that, they were driving me so close to the self-end that my therapy sessions with my my sessions with my therapist were no longer about making good plans for how to avoid homelessness at all. They weren't about strategizing, finding lawyers. They weren't about making maps of places that I can sleep without having to spend any money, so that I could have taken that, whatever it was, $300 or $500 that I made selling all the junk that woman bought me as apology gifts for treating me like dog shit. I could have taken all of that and I could have held on to it. Do you not understand? Investment. I invested in them, and it was a sunk cost. But that doesn't mean that the conditions of my love for them have changed. It means that the conditions for my admiration of them have changed. It means the conditions of my being willing to respect them in the same way have changed. But those words are all just about the reciprocation. It's about reciprocation. They weren't willing to respect me. They weren't willing to trust me. And this is what I'm saying. This is what I told my sister. If you trust me, if you believe in me, if you love me, if you respect me, if you admire me, if you, all these things that you have all said about me, if it's true, then fucking do it. Stop making it conditional to me doing what you would do in the same situation. I'm not you.